Hello, welcome back. As you can see from the title, this is an unboxing of yet another generous donation to my channel. Again from David, Retro Games Play Badly Birdsall. He's got a great channel which highlights, as you can guess, him playing retro games badly, much the same way that I do. His channel is really great. If you don't subscribe to it, please do so, because he is one of many channels that could do with a hell of a lot more subscribers. I'll pop a link to his channel in the description box below. Please check him out. If you like what you see, give him a sub. He's a great bloke. This is the second time he's donated to the channel, as I've said. This time, this package, we've kind of exchanged packages. I've sent him a load of Spectrum games, which he's just done an unpackaging of on his channel. But whereas I sent those to him first class, recorded delivery, delivered the next day, hand delivered by a naked sugar babe, Dave has sent mine by fourth class, hand delivered by a three-legged donkey that can only walk backwards. It's just arrived today. Dave, I'm just joking, mate. I'm incredibly made up. Thanks ever so much for this. I kind of know what's in the box, but I can't actually remember because we were discussing it a couple of weeks ago. So let's go in. I will, of course, keep a lookout on the Bazza H2O channel, my second channel, which I've only got sort of 4 videos on at the moment. So I'm going to be trying to build that up soon, and I'm planning to have some gameplay videos on there at the weekend on the N64 and possibly some GameCube as well. And I'm also going to be trying to do on this channel one game side by side on the Spectrum and Commodore 64. If I can get both the TVs that I have to work, then I intend to sort of get them loading at the same time, etc. Right, let's get into this and see what we've got. At least I hope this is for me, because he hasn't actually put my name on it, it's just got the address. Just thought I'd point that out to you, David. This might be a box full of horse stuff that my daughter's ordered. Right. Okay. Oh. We have very well packaged. Now I do have one of those like multi-work tool things, you know, the sort of modern day equivalent of the Swiss Army knife with ultra sharp blades on it, and I can't find the bloody thing to save my life. I haven't seen it for a couple of weeks, so I'm going to have to use brute force and Baz strength to get into this. Oh, whatever it is, it's come from Gojo Industries in Akron, Ohio. Don't think it has. It's come from Yorkshire. Oh, there we go. Now, when this arrived, my missus looked at me, and obviously the name's not on it. I said, oh, I think that's for me. And she goes, what is it? So I said, well, it might be some stuff David sent me. And she's gone, so you've been spending money on more crap. Quote, verbatim, more or less. But the good thing is I was able to counter that by saying, oh, I haven't spent any money, you sent me these for free. To which she, after a very brief pause, riposted with, well, it's still crap. And I'd like to know, you know, what your partner's, better halves, boyfriend, girlfriend, even your family think of your collecting hobby, if you have one. If you do hoover up loads of shit, to quote Mrs. Bazza H. Are they supportive? Do they join in? Do they play any of the games themselves? Or do they largely just let you get on with it as long as you don't act too ridiculously with money, etc.? Now, my wife, despite having a Spectrum back in the day, has no interest in it whatsoever now. She finds the room all this lot takes up, you know, she frowns. But I'd like to know what your partners had to say about this. So a really nice little collection here from Dave. I do like cover tapes, because they can give you some great value, and you can also find things on them that you never sort of had or even knew about. One of my favourite ones, one of the Your Sinclair ones that I picked up a while back, is a demo of the eventually unreleased version of, Spectrum version of Armalite, the fantastic Commodore 64 shooter. And that is, you know, it's a shame that that game was never ever released, because it was really great, or so it would seem from the demo. And the fact that it exists only on a Your Sinclair cover tape means that if it wasn't on that tape, those tapes weren't in existence, that demo would possibly be lost forever. So we've got a 10-pack game with some really quite good games on it. Android, Hate, Cyclone, TLL, Temple of Terror, Revolution, and some kind of tips and thingamajig things on there. So I'll enjoy putting that into the collection. Another one here, the Spectrum version of Tempest. That's a really good version of Tempest. Star Raiders 2, Southern Belle from Houston. I've never actually played that, Southern Belle. Anyone ever played that train simulator? FA Cup football. No, sorry, Super Cup football. Ripped Off, and the various pokes that you used to be able to get for games on there. What else have we got here? Yeah, we've got one here with Trantor, Blackbeard, 10th Frame, Crystal Castles, a playable demo of Pang, and also Turtles, Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, playable demo. So yeah, these cover tapes were a really good way of building up your collection, because obviously, I mean, I think I've mentioned this before in videos. If you, when you were a kid, you relied on pocket money basically to be able to get a game, and if you only got so much a week, you'd obviously only ever be able to buy like a couple of games a month, unless you used compilations, if you know what I mean. So when magazines started doing cover tapes, it really was a good way of building up your games collection. Now I know that the cover tape things on the Spectrum magazines ended up, you know, getting a little bit silly. The tapes got bigger and the magazines got smaller. I think I've got that the right way around. Don't quote me on that. That's just come out of my head. Kim Justice did do a really good video on the cover tape wars, which I will link into the description below. Go and check that out, because she goes into quite a lot of detail about the history behind it, and, you know, how it all came to pass, if you will. So check her video out. It really is interesting. This one contains Hydrofall, Quasatron or Quasatron. Which one? Second question for you. Which one? Which way do you pronounce it? Quasatron or Quasatron? Chubby Gristle. Decent enough-ish platformer with some great intro music. The Hunt for Red October and Gaza 2. I know Hydrofall, Quasatron and Chubby Gristle out of that lot. I've got, what else has he sent us? The Hit Squad release of Afterburner. Now, I'm not sure I've ever played Afterburner on the Spectrum. Like Space Harrier, it always seemed to be one of those games that, when it was first announced that it was going to be released, that you thought, no, they're way overreaching themselves there. There's no way that the Spectrum could actually ever achieve anything like that. But with Space Harrier, you know, they came up with a really good conversion. It has its flaws, etc., but it's by no means a terrible game. So I'm not sure about Afterburner, whether or not that's in the same sort of category. But I'll be interested to check that out. Top Gun, No One Puts Baby in the Corner. That's the wrong film, isn't it? Yeah. Top Gun, whatever. I don't watch films like that. I don't think I've ever seen Top Gun. It's regarded as a classic Tom Cruise thing. I think there's a Top Gun 2 in development. I'm not sure what the game's like. I do actually have that on the Commodore 64 as well, in one of those action sort of compilation things that Mark Payne sent me when he sent me the Commodore 64. So that's a few games now I've got on both systems. I've got Buggy Boy, I think Paperboy, Hungry Horace, and now I think Top Gun. So I've got some things being built up slowly that I can do double comparisons on. I've got the Mastertronic re-release of the Melbourne House conversion of Double Dragon on the Spectrum. Now, I have played it. Again, going back to what I said about Afterburner, it was one of those ones that when it was released, people were a bit like, that won't really work on a Spectrum. And I have reviewed it, I think, in a video I did ages back about arcade conversions that weren't particularly good. And I think I put Double Dragon in there, but I've gone back to it a couple of times since, and I don't actually think it was that bad a game. It was not great, it's not fantastic, but it certainly isn't horrendous. by a long stretch of the imagination. So for it to feature in a game, sorry, to feature in a video alongside the likes of the Spectrum versions of Kung Fu Master and Jailbreak, you know, perhaps I was a bit unfair on that. Double Dragon 2, however, is shit. Just thought I'd get that out there. Now, some non-specky related stuff I've got here. You'll be aware through my recent hoovering up of bits and pieces and systems that one of the things I got was a GameCube. And David has sent me the GameCube version of 13, which was by Ubisoft in about 2003. Yeah, 2003. Now, I have played this before, but not on the GameCube. I think I had it because at one point I had an original Xbox, a PlayStation 2, a GameCube, and still had my Dreamcast and N64 knocking around. And like a twat, I got rid of all of them. And I don't know why. If I'd have known now what I knew then about the retro scene, I'd have kept hold of everything. But yeah, tell me your thoughts on that. I quite liked it. It was a sort of like first-person cartoon sort of graphic, cel-shaded sort of type thing. I think it's based, if I remember rightly, on a comic or something like that. Can't remember an awful lot about it, but I do remember that I did enjoy it. Yeah, so everything in there with the manuals, etc., and the disc. Looks a nice little package. Thanks for that, David. And Medal of Honor Frontline. Now, this was the Medal of Honor, I believe. Sorry, please correct me if I am wrong on this. Frontline is the console version of Allied Assault, which was the sort of first... hang on, was that Allied Assault? I might be getting my games mixed up. But yeah, where you did the sort of whole storm the beaches at Normandy, that sort of whole intro from Saving Private Ryan sort of type intro thing. And I'm not sure I ever had this on the GameCube or any of that generation, but I did have the first couple of Medal of Honor games on the PS1, Medal of Honor and Medal of Honor Underground, and I remember really enjoying those games. So yeah, so shout out your memories of those, in particular those GameCube games. Now, as ever, thank you ever so much to David for helping with the collection. I'll have to squirrel them away into the shelves under cover of darkness. I mean, she already knows they're here anyway, so it's not going to do any harm to just sort of keep them out and about. But every time she sits there, she goes, more, and I'm just like, yeah, sorry. But anyway, so yeah, questions. What does your partner, other half, think about your interest in retro gaming and collecting, etc.? Do they approve of it, or do they highly disapprove of it, or do they just think, "Oh, grow up"? And also, what do you think of it? What are your memories of any of the games that were shown there? Thank you ever so much for watching. I know it's just a ramble. If you like the video, please let me know. If you wish to subscribe, please do so. Please check out David Birdsall's channel. Give him a sub if you can, or if you are inclined to. And also remember to check out the video that Kim Justice did about the cover tape wars, which I will link to her video in the description box below. It really is worth it. Thanks ever so much. Take care. And a child has just come home from school and the dog started barking. Goodbye.